Welcome to the Angelscapes podcast, where you're encouraged to uncover and develop a direct connection with your soul's power, wisdom, and spiritual intuition that is ready to blossom. We'll explore new ideas, compelling tips, and real steps to help you learn simple spiritual practices. We're a safe place to learn more about accessing your soul's power with education and spiritual wholeness that could bring more clarity to your life. Now here's your host, a practicing medium, Akashic Records practitioner, spirit artist, coach, and mentor, Dr. Reverend Nancy Smith.
Are you trying to put the thank into Thanksgiving? Did you know that appreciation is a spiritual practice that leads directly to your soul? Hello, this is Angelscapes, and I'm your host, Nancy Smith, and join me in this episode for a talk about Thanksgiving and why it is so important to practice Thanksgiving. Appreciating life and others, and especially yourself, nourishes you and gives you a purpose for living. When you nourish yourself, you are creating a direct path to your own divinity, to your own soul. So in this episode, we're going to talk about self-love, how to nourish that self-love, and how to follow the pathway from that self-love to your soul and your intuition. So I have a number of things. One thing on my website is angelscapes.net is the 7 pathways to your soul. And it talks about, actually it's the 7 pathways to soul power living, and it's for free. You can download it. And it talks about these steps that you take to create joy in your life, to create love in your life, and to have that soul power be around you. There is a concept called Maslow's law of hierarchy, and Maslow's hierarchy, where we need to achieve certain things in our lives before we can feel that extraordinary place in our lives where we can really begin to become creative and look for another meaning in life besides survival. And that first rung is about survival. It's about creating a home for yourself. It's about having enough to eat. It's having people in your life socially who can help you. Being part of, have a job or being part of a community where you can survive. And then after that's all taken care of, then you step up to the other more creative aspects of life. And sometimes we can get stuck in that lower rung, and I don't want to call it a lower vibration because it's a very important vibration. It's a vibration of life and living and survival. We don't want to get stuck there. We want to take care of all that needs to be taken care of so that you could move through to trusting yourself and to a more creative aspect, a more intuitive aspect. Once we've created that intuitive aspect, that's when life changes its dimensions. That's when the vibrations really start to grow and become higher and higher. At the lower rung of Maslow's law, say this right, is the just the survival part, and then there's animosity, there's competition, and there's a lot of emotions and feelings of I have to do this to survive. It's fight or flight, or it's strive to thrive, to survive, kind of. It's like teeth and claw kind of thing, and we see the world kind of acting like that right now. A lot of places in the world are acting like that. And some of them are way out of balance, and some of them are questionable, and some of them are just heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, with different multiple shootings or people losing their homes and devastating earth changes. And then right out war. We have a couple of huge wars going on right now, and those are all things happening in that level, at that lower rung level. And what we want to do is find a way to raise the vibration to live in a higher level. And when we live in a higher level, it can address the lower levels as well. Because we're coming at it from the soul's perspective, and the soul's perspective can change everything. The soul's perspective can bring in new thoughts, creative ideas, new solutions to lower level problems. And I say that with all the respect in the world. I mean, problems of survival. That's what I've been calling lower level. Those are very deep seated and necessary problems to solve. So we don't make light of them at all. So I want to start by saying something lighter. Self-love is the key to gratitude, or gratitude and self-love go hand in hand is another way of saying that. Gratitude leads you to happiness into your soul. And self-love is something that we may not know about. We may think we know it, but we may not have our fingers right on it. I've heard many people say, "Oh, this is me time now. This is my time. I have given through many years of my life. I've done this for people, that for my children, or this for my job. Now it's me time." And then I watch them go into what their version of me time is, and sometimes it's not really their me time. It's an extravagance and fun, um, and all kinds of crazy experiments and adventures. But does it lead them to their deepest self? Not always. Sometimes they come home and then the bank account is all spent and they're tired, and they have great memories. But is the meaning there? Is the depth? Is there fulfillment there? And sometimes I see and hear them saying that was great, but what's next? What else am I going to do? And so there's another me time adventure that needs to happen. And as I say these things, and all with all the deepest respect in the world, I want to talk about how the me time can be self-love, and the self-love needs to be maybe explored in a little bit of a different way. So I'm going to challenge you to make a list of things that you appreciate in your life, small things, not trips to Hawaii, but things that are daily in your budget, in your life, that are pretty much obvious, but maybe you don't take time to celebrate them or take care of them. And it could be the cup of coffee in the morning. It could be the kind of coffee that you drink in the morning. It could be tea, could be the warm socks. It could be the shoes. It could be hot water, getting into that hot shower. Oh my God, my pillows. I love my pillows. So I want you to make a list about 30 things, we'll go at least a dozen. And I want you to just do 3 of them a day and really be mindful of how you do those things, and how they make you feel, and take your time observing yourself and observing how you feel, and ask yourself, what are these things that I'm doing? What do they tell me about my life? How do they make me feel about my life? And as you do them, if you have a moment to jot them down, but if you don't, you don't. At some point, maybe by the end of the day, just observe yourself enjoying yourself, and then we want to bring in gratitude and appreciation to really. I've actually sat down one day. Somebody suggested I do that because I was freaking out over the bills, and I sat down with my electric bill and I said, I really appreciate electricity. I really appreciate heat. I really appreciate being able to run my hair dryer, or the refrigerator's running, and all the things that electricity gave to me. So I felt like grateful for that I could pay my bill and have all these things, electrical things in my life. And it changed the way I looked at my bills, my electric and gas bill, and my insurance bills, and all those things that kept my life going at a certain level, a certain level of quality. So I want you to kind of look at those things in your life and say, where's the quality of my life, and what things are in place, whether I put them there or lots of people came together to put them there in my life, that brings my quality of life, up a few pegs from um, living in a tent in the forest, for instance, although that's a really fun thing to do as well. And that could be something that you could really appreciate, is taking a break and leaving the beautiful home with the electricity and going into the quiet. But that's a whole nother story for another day. So I want you to say a prayer of gratitude as you feel these things. Thank you. Thank the universe. Thank yourself. Thank your soul for bringing these things to you. And as you do that, you will start to trust your life and trust yourself and trust the choices that you've made to really bring your life into a quality, into a level that you can appreciate, that you can feel like, yeah, I'm here. So once you trust yourself, your confidence in yourself grows, your faith in life grows, and sometimes your faith in a higher power grows. It's always nice to hear when that happens, because we're not doing this life by ourselves. And as you seek answers to some of the struggles in your life, I want you to learn to look to your soul, and through these grateful practices, you're creating a direct pathway to your soul. So when the struggles do show up, you you can trust yourself, and you can know that your soul knows what to do. You're building a connection to your soul through gratitude. So take some time over the next couple days and listen to yourself and talk to yourself and identify what's making you happy. And then I want you to start to listen to that small inner voice within you. That's the voice of your soul. And ask your soul, what do these things mean to me? How did these things get here? Where did they come from? And, ask your soul, can we get more of them? And at the same time, once you find your joy in your life, your small joys as you go in life, I want you to send a message from your heart to your brain and say, can you look for more of these? Please, can you look for more of these and find more satisfaction and joy that these things bring me? Find more in different ways, in different places. And you will start to notice, because you set your mind to do it, that there's a lot more in your life that's supporting you, showing you love and appreciation than you ever thought, because you were taking things for granted, which is what we do when we're living our lives and we're very busy. So another aspect to healthy, nourishing living is stopping and appreciating what you have around you, what's working for you. So there are a lot of voices within us. That's quiet, beautiful soul voice. That's your soul. And there are other voices that say cynical, or they're protecting, or they are kind of negative, critical, fearful, anxious voices. Those voices are emotions, and those emotions are changeable. They're energy in motion, and they're there to give you a message. They're there to tell you what's going on, but they're not there to drive the bus, although they often do. And they often want to. Those are coming from your ego, or they're coming from your unconscious self. And they're saying, hey, you're back down at the lower rung of this law of hierarchy, and you got to act accordingly. And you can say to those voices, glad you showed up. Tell me what's going on. Give me the message. But your aware self can choose to align yourself with your soul, to align yourself with the love of God, and make choices that are best for you, that are good for you, that are nourishing you, that are showing you the way towards happiness, and not down the pathway of it's all going to hell in a handbasket. We don't want to go in that direction, because as we go in the hell, going to hell in a handbasket, where we're on that ride, we're agreeing with, believe it or not, we're agreeing with poverty. We're agreeing with all the wars all over the world. We're agreeing with all of the people who are shooting other people, because they also feel that life is hell in a handbasket kind of thing. And they're doing the best they can with the idea that life is miserable. So we need to raise the vibrations, those of us who can do it. We need to raise the vibrations. We need to go to that place where we're nurturing ourselves, where we're trusting ourselves, to the point where we're listening to our soul's inner voice that has a tremendous amount of creativity. And once we are in that creative space, and we are acting on our creative intuitions or creative ideas, we step into the presence, the sense of being present in the moment. And when we're in the present moment, we can change anything and everything. Can't do much when you're living in the past, and can't do much when you're living in the future. You got to do it in the now, guys. So when we're in the now, when you're in the now, you're in a state of being. You're in a state of here's my feet on the ground, here's my body moving through space and time, and here's how I feel, and here's the flow of life moving around me. So here's the steps that I want to take. Here's the steps that I need to take. And when we're in a state of being, just a beautiful state of being, we're connecting with source. We're connecting with that higher power. We're connecting with our souls. And our soul brings in even more creativity, brings in more power, more strength, more ability to act on these creative thoughts. And the creative thoughts that we have when we're working from that point of view are in alignment to the flow of life, that is the universe, the infinite intelligence, love, and light. When we're in the present moment, acting on our creativity, we are in the flow of life. and what we create is in alignment with source, is in alignment to a higher vibration. And that's where I want us all to go. That's where I would really like for you to go. There are days when sometimes, I've had these days, and maybe you've had these days when you look in the mirror and there's a stranger looking back and you don't understand why you're reacting to situations and people the way you are, or how did you even get here? How did you, where are you and how did you get here kind of thing. And you find yourself being more angry and unhappy more than you really want to admit. And you feel like life is happening to you instead of you choosing life or creating the life that you want. On those days, you could say, I'm not my regular self. But what I want to invite you to, when you're in those days, there's a pathway that you can follow, that you can let go of the pathway that you think you're on and go into that pathway of nurturing yourself, going back to basics and saying, I've got running water, I've got, a nice pair of shoes, or just find what tells you that life is meaningful, that what tells you that there's a lot to appreciate in life, and follow that pathway to your soul. It's very, very important to do, especially in these times, because the planet needs our positivity, the planet needs our creativity, and the gifts that our soul gave us to use in this lifetime. That's how you get to those gifts. And humanity, the planet, we all need you. We all need to be at our highest and best so that we can raise the vibration of what's around us and challenge the lower vibration to also raise itself. So here's the law, a metaphysical law, the law of vibration, everything vibrates, right? So everything vibrates, but everything wants to harmonize with the vibrations around itself. So, and the harmonizing goes to the highest vibration in the room. And so if we're creating a high vibration, then everything in that space and time want to harmonize with that higher vibration. And if think of the law of gravity and water goes to the lowest level. That's how we can have those tools that are called levels, and we can find where this plumb stuff up with that. So in that sense, it's kind of similar to that law, but the law of vibration wants to come up. It wants to have more creativity. It wants to have a more of a flowing with the universal life flow energy. So you don't have to be a high level medium or an intuitive to be able to walk this pathway or to do this pathway or to get answers from your soul. You simply have to make a choice to use appreciation and gratitude as a practice that takes you to higher thinking, that takes you to your soul, that takes you to source, that takes you to amazing solutions, amazing creative ideas. Connecting to your soul will help you resolve the root cause of it living a disconnected life, and learning to your soul languages so that you can reconnect to yourself. And I like to break it down into 5 languages of the soul. We'll talk about that in a second. And you can learn to receive nurturing guidance from your higher self when you're talking to your soul. So as you nurture yourself, as above, so below, if you begin to nurture yourself with the basic things in life, you open the door to your soul nurturing you. As a matter of fact, there's another little tidbit law that I've learned is that as much as we love ourselves, how much we love ourselves is in direct proportion to how much we can receive God's love in our lives. So it doesn't mean that God's not loving us because we're bad. That's not what I'm saying. It's just that when we love ourselves, our hearts get larger, and our ability to take in this love, their capacity grows. So as we love and nurture ourselves, we can feel the love of God, the love of source, the love of our soul, the angels, guides a little more clearly and a little more precisely. And the capacity goes a little bit deeper. And as the capacity of love goes a little bit deeper, we build more and more confidence to be in that present moment, to be in that highly creative thinking state. So you don't have to be a high level medium or high level intuitive. You start where you are and move forward. That's the most important thing that you can do for yourself and all the people that you love around you, is to keep moving forward. So let's talk about the bad news a little bit. What is a soul crisis? What is it when you get to that dark night of the soul? What's that all about? So it's Thanksgiving, it's going to be Christmas, and you're in the dark night of the soul. Everything's gone wrong. People are being mean to you. The car doesn't work. You're homeless, or your job stopped, and all this disappointing things. Your family's not talking to you. A soul crisis is when life gets turned upside down and it's no longer working for you. And those are times when you must reset your life. Your situation, your soul is saying it's time to reset your life. Your soul is asking you to move forward. Your soul's not asking you to lay down and die, or to give up on a situation. Your soul's not saying, hey, look at what a bad person you are. That's why all these bad things are happening to you. That's not what your soul is saying. Your soul is saying, we're moving forward. We're shifting out of where we've been, and we're going, and generally speaking, the soul's taking you to a different vibrational place, usually a higher vibrational place. Examples can be divorce, empty nest, loss of career, grief, loss of loved ones. And the pandemic, to be honest with you, was a soul crisis for humanity, where we were being asked to rise above, or to raise our vibrations to a new place. So in a soul crisis, you may feel a void within you, and you may feel a sense of something's not right, or many things aren't right. And this is probably the most important time of your life that you could have. And if you have your pathway to your soul already opened through gratitude or appreciation practices, and really seeing in your life, get back to basics, that soul crisis is really going to move you. Your appreciation is going to be the wind in your sails that moves you to where your soul wants you to be. And what are the lessons that you've learned, and where's the new pathway that's going to serve you much better, open up for you. Your soul crises are basically a reminder to get back on your soul's path. And back on your soul's path is the best way to live. And your soul's path is delivered to you in a very gentle voice, a very quiet voice. It's a very creative voice. It's very nourishing, very slow, very encouraging. And it's okay to listen to that soft, encouraging, loving voice, because that's your soul, and that's going to take you somewhere. It knows what you need. It knows where your best pathway is. And our soul, energetically, when our soul creates us in our physical, spiritual bodies, our soul's plan is embedded in a couple different places in our awareness. It's in our higher conscious awareness, in the higher chakras above our head. It's in our heart. It's in our lower chakras. It's in our unconscious self. And we are going to walk our soul's path no matter what we do, conscious or unconscious. But if you can walk your soul's path in partnership with your soul and in awareness, and you can ask your guardian angel, so what's going on? Now, that guardian angel is also another being that holds your soul's path, or your soul's desire, your soul's dream for your life now. And if you can walk that with awareness and hand in hand with your guardian angel, your soul, your life's gonna be a little bit more interesting. Or you could start to recreate something else. Like, I've already finished this aspect, and now I'm ready to go into another aspect. And your soul's going, yay, she figured it out, or he figured it out. Let's step in. Let's go to another pathway, rather than being in energy, stuck energy that keeps repeating yourself. Your soul will help you get out of that stuck energy. And all of these things that I'm talking about are tools that I use with all my clients as well. Just reminding you that emotions and unhappy feelings and reactions, unrequited desire, are all messages that you're giving to yourself. They're not meant to nourish you. They definitely don't nourish you. They're changeable. They're going to inspire you sometimes to make a change, but then you got to let the emotion go, and you can feel happy one minute and sad the next minute. So as you can see, they're changing, and they're giving you messages, but it's up to you to make those messages consistent, to understand what it is, and what you're doing, and where's your soul in all of this, and where are you going. Please don't believe your feelings and your emotions. Simply listen to the message, and then be intelligent and aware of what it is that you need to do next. So when we're filled with emotions, they can become very dark, they can become very heavy. And sometimes, in the cases of, we've seen this in the cases of mental illness, they can just take you into a whole place of illusion where you do things that are just out of humanity. They're just out of control. So staying on a soul path or staying on a path of awareness of what's supporting you, and appreciate those things around you that are giving you the quality of life that you're looking for, you have a less of a chance of going down that dark path that your emotions can tell you about or can bring you down to that path. And that also the part of nourishing yourself is you need to get enough sleep. You need to eat good foods. You need to make sure you have enough protein going into your system so your brain's working right. And you need to have quiet time for yourself where you're just breathing, maybe meditating or taking in life, however you want to do it. You want to call it meditating, or if you just call it breathing, quietly taking in the good things in life so that you can hear your soul talk to you. Those are the steps that are so important to keep you from going down the path that your emotions are insinuating you should be going down, because they're not right, or they're not holding water for you. They're not going to grow corn. They're simply going to burn down the fields, and then you got to replant everything. So your soul can guide you to choose the best path forward, but you need to be quiet and settle down so that you hear your soul talking to you. Your higher power, your guardian angels aren't going to take over your life. You have a will. Your aware self has a choice to go in whatever direction that you want to go in. And it's this taking the time to have Thanksgiving celebration. We sometimes forget why we're doing this, but the taking the time to have a celebration of Thanksgiving reminds you that this is the best pathway to go on, that the pathway of appreciation and awareness is an alignment to the higher power. It's an alignment to your humanity, the highest part of your humanity. Your soul is not an ego construct. Um, your ego is meant to hold your soul, not lead it. So those emotions are like, think of them as the nest that's holding you, that's saying, don't, it's saying to you, here's where you are in space and time. But it's up to you to decide where you and your soul want to create, where, depending on where you are in space and time. Your soul is creative energy. So if you're working straight with your soul, there's creativity coming up. There's new thoughts coming up. If you're not working with your soul and you're listening to the inner voices, their telltale mark is it's not creative. It's more judgmental, or it's more negative, or it's more bringing you to a place of a pathway down a rabbit hole that's a little pessimistic, sometimes turning into darkness. So another thing to remember, um, and this is kind of coming flu season now that we're every season is flu season, or COVID season, whatever you want. But as you get sick, or if you're not feeling well, or something that's going on with your body, that's not the time to think about the meaning of life. It's the time to really nourish yourself and help yourself get past this, really thinking positive thoughts, distracting yourself with beautiful things, and really taking care of yourself. And don't decide because you're not feeling well that this is, and you have the flu or you have COVID, that this is the time to judge what life is really all about. It's not. It's the time to nurture yourself and care for yourself. And oftentimes I hear people saying, I have these things in my life. What is my soul path? What is the meaning of all this? And I talk to their soul. I talk to my soul. I talk to the guides, and they say, because you're learning to care for yourself. You're learning to love yourself, because it goes all the way back to how much we love ourselves is in proportion to how much we can take in God's love for us. So if you're being challenged in your life in some way and you're not feeling well, take a moment and think of loving thoughts towards yourself, nurture yourself, care for yourself, and open the door to that higher power to come in and say, I'm with you, I love you, and you mean something to me, and I want to be with you and help you get better. So when we have those difficult situations, whatever they are in our lives, take a moment and appreciate that you're breathing, that you're here, and that you can move yourself to realize that you're not alone in the suffering, that you are with a higher power. And God isn't making you suffering. It's part of the human experience. It really seriously is part of it. I wish it wasn't, because I don't do well with hangnails. I get a hangnail and I just or I have some arthritis kicking up, and I just feel like my life is over. I have a hard time with it. And I have to stop. I have to slow down. I have to take care of myself. And I have to make sure, am I getting enough sleep? Am I getting enough rest? Did I put my feet up long enough so that I take care of my body? Because your body is going to tell you you're not doing a good job. It could be your body's giving you apocalyptic messages because you're not taking care of yourself. And that, believe it or not, those messages are loving messages from your body. You can't interpret them. You have to be careful on how you interpret them. You can't interpret them that it is apocalyptic time. It's not. It's like, whoa, we gotta fuel myself back up. I gotta take care of myself. I gotta drink plenty of fluids. I gotta get those vitamins in there, vitamin D, whatever we need. And decide to find that higher road, decide to nurture yourself to that higher level, that higher vibration, because you forgot how to take care of yourself, and you forgot how to take care of your body, which is taking you to taking you to wherever you want to go. You need your body. So your body's going to start whining and complaining if you're not taking care of yourself. So isn't that interesting how self-love and self-care um, are the ways to go? The ways to raise the vibration in the world is through loving yourself and then loving others from that place. I just want to tell you, angelscapes.net is my website, and all of the things that I'm talking about are soul powered work. I do mentorships around these kinds of issues to take you into a powerful place in your life. We work with the Akashic Records. We work with your soul and all your guides. Some of them are healing sessions, and some of them are just awareness sessions and connecting to that higher power. So angelscapes.net to book a session. And if you want to know more, book a discovery session. It's like 15-20 minutes, no charge. And we'll talk about how these programs really can help you move forward and unstick that energy. So the 4-step pathway to accessing soul power living is something that I kind of wrote down, and I try to live by it. Sometimes I forget, but the 4-step pathway to accessing your soul. Take time to feel and acknowledge how you really, really feel. How do I really feel about this? Put a smile on your face and say, I'm fine, nothing's wrong. But honestly, how do you really feel about this? Without self-judgment, simply acknowledge how you feel and honor where you are, and explore what you truly want, which leads to feeling safe within yourself. Because for once, you've been heard. That body that's aching, and you finally heard, yes, I'm going to get off my feet, or that emotional part of yourself that's being neglected finally is being heard. And when we listen to ourselves, this is not selfish and indulgent. This is actually, healthy and responsible nurturing, leads to you feeling safe within yourself. And when you begin to feel safe within yourself because you are listening to yourself, I mean, after all, who else listens to you better than you? When you feel safe within yourself, that leads to, believe it or not, and this is really true, it leads to creative thinking and living. And that's where you want to have Thanksgiving, right there. Your creativity and your thinking and your living is a direct result of feeling safe within yourself, which is a direct result from you listening to yourself and responding to yourself, not listening and saying, hey, we want none of that, forget about it, but listening to say, oh, I hear what you're saying now. What will work? What can we do to work? Then you start feeling the gift back that you get from your body and your ego self, your unconscious self, because you listened to them, not that they drove the bus and took lead. It's because you listened what is really truly needed here, and you've responded. So here we are. Your creativity has blossomed. Your thoughts are full of new thoughts and awareness, and you're coming up with all kinds of fun things in your life. Creativity and thinking and living builds fun that creates joy and happiness. And with that joy and happiness, that's not the end game. That leads to a state of being alive in the present moment. So joy and happiness is actually an energy, a flow. It's a state of grace that takes you to being alive in the present moment. A state of being alive in the present moment helps you to untether from what is restricting you. Get that? A state of being alive in the present moment helps you to untether from what is restricting you and what perceptions are lying to you and what illusions are kicking you in the butt. And when you have that being alive in the present moment, that leads you to a connection to the flow and wisdom of your higher mind, of your soul. So, right, if you do it right, and you're your aware self, and you're taking those 4 steps, you end up hand in hand with your soul. Isn't that amazing? And your soul is eternal. We're eternal. Your soul's your direct connection to source, the energy of spirit, and all bets are off. Everything that you could possibly need or want is in your soul. So let's talk to your soul. How does your soul talk to you? So now you're connecting to a flow in wisdom to your soul, and now your soul's talking back to you. And how does your soul talk to you? But it's not talking English. It's not necessarily talking the language you've been talking your whole life. It's the soul language. So what is the soul language? I broke it down into 5 languages of your soul. There's lots more ways that your soul can talk to you. But I thought when I asked spirit to just tell me how to basically hear my soul, how to hear my intuition, what do I need to know? What do I need to do? Kind of came up with these 5 thoughts, 5 principles. The first one is to reconnect to your aware self. And that's what we did when we went to the soul power living, to that soul awareness, is reconnecting to your your aware self. I can talk, and feel your feelings and find your inner voice and listen. So this takes it a little bit deeper. Your aware self, not your worried self, not your skeptical self, not your anxious self, but breathe. That calm, aware self can hear that inner voice that is your soul. It's a quiet, positive, pervasive voice that you can hear when you are standing in the middle of your aware self. So that is where the soul language comes in. And then the next space, the next step, or language, the language shows up when you create sacred space. Your spirit, your soul, and your source can integrate and thrive in sacred space. So basically, the sacred space is the energy and the thoughtfulness that you put forward to stay in your aware self. It could be a regular meditation practice. It could be an awareness is like, I'm listening to what I'm saying, and I don't like what I'm saying, and I'm going to come into this quiet, peaceful place. And sometimes it's a meditative, sometimes it's a journey space, sometimes you use your imagination to create this space. But how I create space, how I'd like you to think about creating sacred space, is to pick a time and a place that you always go to when you need to talk to your soul or when you need to calm down. And when you go to that place, just breathe. Breathe in, spirit, and breathe out and relax. And invite in your soul, invite in your guardian angel to be there with you, and be as quiet for as long as you can. Then thoughts come by, and you say, thank you for coming, but we're not doing that right now. Set it aside. We're doing soul right now. And the more that you're able to do it, maybe it's for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then maybe after a couple of weeks of doing that, you can do it for 15 minutes. And you will begin to see in your outside, what happens is you calm down, you feed yourself all of this energy, and maybe you can't see it or feel it or measure it. But once you've been doing it for a while, you're building that energy within yourself, using the sacred space. You'll start to see synchronicities. You'll start to see alignments, and you'll start to have new thoughts. And that's your soul talking to you. And it's talking to you. Your soul is able to talk to you because you've built the capacity to see, feel, and hear that higher power, because you've been sitting in creative space and quietly inviting that awareness to come come towards you so that you can receive it. So the third language, so that's creative space that opens the door a little bit wider for soul. The next one is interacting with your inner voice. You are building a relationship with your soul, and your inner voice is perceived through your intuition. Now, by the time you're sitting in sacred space and you're listening to this inner voice, your intuition is growing. So sometimes that inner voice can be clear, audience. Sometimes you hear it. Sometimes you see it in synchronicities or pictures or colors flow around you. Sometimes you just feel it in your heart. clairsentient. Sometimes you know things that you didn't know before. That's claircognizance. Or sometimes you get a taste in your mouth, or you get this clairalience. You get it. Oh, this tastes good. This smells lovely, or this smells rotten. And then the clairvoyant. That would be the colors and the things that you see. So you're building a relationship with your soul, and your inner voice is perceived through your intuition. It's perceived through those things that feel like emotions, but they're actually they're not. They're superpowers. And then I want you to take action on the intuitive knowing and learn through experience. When you sense guidance, follow it. So it's the give and take that builds that language between you and your soul. Between you and your intuition is taking you to your soul. So if you got start small, don't wear yellow today is your intuition. Say, okay, I'm not going to wear yellow. I'll wear this other color, and just see how you feel throughout the day, because you made a choice based on an intuitive sense, not a driving anxiety, but an intuitive sense. The intuitive sense is don't drive the same route to work, go a different way, and do it without expectation, and then observe what happens. And when you get to work and kind of think about the day, say, what did I notice about taking that new pathway? Those kinds of things, because you're building a language between you and your soul, you and your intuition. And the more that you build that language, the more that you trust it, and the more that your intuition and your soul trust you to listen, and it gets louder and more pervasive. And all of a sudden, you're just rocking on your intuition, and you're trusting it. And the next time you feel like you need to do something, you're not going to sit there and think about it. You're just going to do it. And then you're going to look back like maybe you missed a whole chunk of plaster coming from the ceiling or something. But like that, you'll see that your intuition is truly helping you and serving you. And then you'll start to balance that out. Well, is the anxiety serving me? Not so much, but the intuition is kind of serving me much better. You'll be able to make different kinds of choices. And so then we're going to go ahead and talk to you about the fourth language of your soul, which is about fuel yourself with the divine grace of the Creator. The source of energy is love, and it's inspiration, and it's creation. And when you come to a crossroads in your day where you have to go, am I going to go down this anxiety route, or am I going to go down this other route? Decide to fuel yourself with divine grace, meaning that take a breath, look for your intuition. What does my intuition tell me? And go for the love. Go for the gold. Go for the love. And let that love fill you up. Remember, when you created sacred space, you started that pathway. So grab that pathway and fuel yourself. Go to that God's gas station, as I call it, and fill yourself with love, divine love, compassion, and faith. And then the fifth language is to be aware of your unconscious inner team of protectors, inner children, inner creators, inner anxiety people, inner overprotection, inner overachievers. And these are parts of yourself that have been running your show. They are layers of yourself that have developed through your life's experience, and even some have leftover past life experiences, and your soul's plan is embedded in there. So as you listen to your inner team, start to listen to them with a different ear, with a different, ask your soul to show you, where in here are my gifts? This is shadow work. Where in the anxious person is the gift that this anxiety is meant to give me? And as we observe our inner peoples, our inner scared child, or inner angry child, when we observe them in sacred space, in the presence of soul and guardian angel, they will begin to blossom and show you where your gifts are. This is shadow work. They show you where they've been limiting you. And then as you encourage them and love them, not criticize them, encourage them and love them to open up, they will show you what a gift you have that you didn't even know you had, that you were not even aware of. And this is another language of your soul, because it's actually where your soul reveals your gifts to you, reveals your personality, reveals how you've been built so that you can achieve your soul's dream with yourself. An example of that would be having overbearing parents and then becoming a very mild adult from having overbearing, because I'm never going to be overbearing like my parents were. But in that shadow work, maybe you have trouble of standing your ground, or maybe you have trouble with conflict. But as you go back into the inner part of yourself that's rejected the overbearing parents, you can open up those overbearing parents who you have locked up in a cage, and they can start to show you where your boundaries are, where your perseverance is, where your forthrightness and your honesty and saying what you have on your mind, and you can bring forward wisdom within you that is a gift that somebody else needs. So you see how that goes? So your shadow has revealed its gem to you, and that's soul work. That is the ascension work. When we talk about we're trying to raise the vibration and we're trying to ascend in humanity beyond what's going on, that's where ascension starts, is in your shadow work. But before you get to the shadow work, you have to love yourself, and you have to build that pathway where you trust yourself and you know yourself. So hopefully, as we going into talking about being thankful and having a holiday called Thanksgiving, this is what it means to me. This is where it's all about loving yourself so that you're able to let the presence of God come in more deeply, so that you can love and appreciate your fellow human, or the people that you're in relationship to. Because the more you love yourself, the more you'll love your family, your partners, your friends, and you'll see their own divinity as you see your own divinity. So I'm going to leave these thoughts with you in this episode, and maybe this will take you to a place of accepting who you are, loving who you are, because there's such a big gift from behind that. So I want to give you the blessings of spirit, and I hope that you will find many different ways to love and appreciate yourself. And so you can go in peace, go in grace, and know that this is soul-powered living, and this is what you're meant to do. So till then, I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you for joining the Angelscapes podcast. We hope you've gained new insights and inspiration for your journey to uncover and access your soul's power. For more information and a deeper dive into finding clarity in your life, go to angelscapes.com. Remember to subscribe so you can be part of the discussion. It may just change your life. See you next time.